Alright, so this video, I'm just going to go over some very basics with regards to the network setup in both the operating system and how that relates to VMware. So first off, I'm going to go to the command prompt, so you can just type in cmd. And one of the most popular ones you'll see was ipconfig/all. ipconfig/all will show you both adapters that are both enabled and disabled. So currently we're really only interested in the enabled ones at the moment, but the ipconfig/all will give you more information. Additionally, it'll give you both layer 2 and layer 3 information. So the /all is going to give you the layer 2 address, which is the MAC address, which is that physical address, but it'll also give us the layer 3, which is the IP address. For this particular example, though, I'm actually going to omit the /all, and I'm actually only interested in the layer 3, which is the IP address. And then you'll see that we also have something here that has letters. Do not confuse that with the layer 2 address. That is a layer 3 IP version 6 address. Also, there's the network connections. My personal way of getting into it is just using the control panel link. So ncpa.cpl brings up network connections. And we get the same information. Just double click, hit details, and you get the exact same information from here. I'm going to move this out of the way so we can see them side by side. You can see that the information is identical. If we hit properties, we can actually verify that it's set statically. It is not set to obtain the IP address automatically. So I'm going to keep that window open. We're going to go to the other computer, which is the Windows 7. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to omit the all, because really all I want is the layer 3 address, and you'll see this is a .7. So I'm going to actually see if they can communicate with each other, and what I'm going to do before I execute this, like sending a ping to each other, so I want to verify first that they reside on the same network before I even try. So I click on, well actually if you just hover over, or actually I'm not even in this particular VM. Yeah, it's this right here. So I can't, the thing is, it's not to confuse. I have nested virtualization, so I was hovering over this. This is my hoe, like the first virtual machine. I actually want the nested virtual machine, which is actually this one, set to host only. So I click that, click settings just to verify, and you can see that this is set to host only. Kind of over to the other one, hover over, and you can see this network adapter set to host only. So before I proceed, you always want to make certain that they are on the same physical network. So this is a .10, this was a .7. So going to this machine, so back to the Windows 10, I'm going to see if I can send a ping across to the other one. And you can see it is successful. Now, we won't actually have any connectivity to the internet because we've statically set an IP address and it's not even properly configured. So on the Windows 10 machine, I will get it some connectivity. In the lab, it has you set it to dynamic. However, for the purpose of this video, I'll make it just a little more tricky. So a few things I want to verify before I proceed. I'm going to go to VM and Setup. For it to be able to successfully access the internet though, again I have to make sure I'm in the right virtual machine. It's this VM. And I want to set it to NAT. NAT that's going to give it the ability to connect to the internet. Then we also have to figure out what are the properties of that NAT adapter. So you have to actually click Change Settings to pass the UAC to be able to get a little more information. So if we click on NAT, so this is the network range, so the 192.168.56. So I'm just going to use the ncpa.cpl to pull up network connections, double click, hit Properties, and we want to make that match the other network. So it's 192.168.56. And because it's not activated, I cannot actually modify the taskbar. It's this one anyways that I want. Alright, so I'm going to click on the DHCP settings. So I want to make certain that I have a static IP set that's not within the DHCP scope, so I don't get what's called an IP conflict. So currently 10 is out of the scope of 128.254. This is what the DHCP server will automatically hand out as an IP address. Since I'm setting it to static, best practice is make certain that the static IP is not within or is excluded from a DHCP range. So given the screen, that is correct. So next we want NAT settings. We want to figure out what the default gateway is. The default gateway is .2. So it'll be 192.168.56.2. And I forgot to hit spacebar. The DNS, so the NAT server is also a DNS caching server, so it's going to be the same thing. So DNS has resolved, however, it's claiming it has no route. I'm leaning towards this could be an issue with how I have this one configured. So I do have nested virtualization. So I'm going to first verify that the first layer has connectivity, which it does. Need to make certain that I do not have an IP conflict between them. Which I do not. So this is proof that things in computing does not always go as planned. So DNS did work. And the default gateway is set correctly. I'm going to take another kick at the can here. It is definitely reachable. I've set it to not. This is, yeah, it's part of the nested one. So I hit OK just in case for some reason maybe it's suspended NAT. So now that I've hit OK, interesting. So I can ping my default gateway. Alright, see if I can ping the host. And it cannot. So I'm thinking that they actually may be the firewall on this computer. So this is nested virtualization, so it's really not going to be accessible to any other network. Alright, that likely was it. Or not. So it has access now to first host. I'm going to pull the plug on it and plug it back in. I'm going to see if I can get any information on that particular adapter to see what's coming across. So we're just sitting idly. So that's the network between my host and the first VM. So that connectivity would be just ducky. And we have some failures. Just want to find out who is 13. 107.9.254. That's something from Microsoft. So the reset, a lot of the times, is a firewall. Oh. Alright. So I was thinking... No, that's this machine. Alright, so DHCP is configured. So just in case it's not letting you set something outside of the range, which it totally should. Just for fun, we're going to set this to obtain an IP address automatically. Alright, so it wasn't me. So that's it. It's good to know. So even with it setting an automatic IP, nested is not working. Well, I'm officially stumped. That should work. Alright, so in the possibility that nested virtualization doesn't require, or doesn't allow NAT and NAT, what I'm going to try is bridged. So this will give me a new IP, and then it should then be in the 90 range. Interesting. So that's not even working. So you should have got the NAT from the first layer. So I'm going to pull the plug and plug it back in. So I've actually set mine to... Alright, so I don't actually have mine launched as root, so promiscuous mode won't work. There's a bunch of V6. Voila! Bridged and bridged. Shocking enough, for nested virtualization, I think we have something. Yes, I'm actually physically connected via Ethernet. So it looks like NAT and NAT doesn't work. The promiscuous mode was an error, but it looks like it did it regardless. I should now have connectivity. So just as FYI, when you're trying to do nested virtualization, you may run into some issues with double natting. But I definitely have an IP from the college, except for that did not resolve. Alright, well, nested virtualization with networking is painful. Very, very painful. And the bridge is set to the correct network. Alright, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to actually restart this as root, just in case it was right with regards to the promiscuous, which I'm betting dollars to donuts it was. Alright, so that's not connected because it should come up as fc.ca. Actually fanchasc.ca. Alright, so DNS worked. Voila! Well, folks, I hope you learned something from my troubleshooting, but double natting for nested virtualization, there are problems. But bridging, clearly have to run as, well, you need to run as root to get past the promiscuous. And I would like to run a search just to verify things are working. So we still have connectivity, just Edge is going really, really, really slow. There we go. So we have Google. And we have a news site. So, alright. The last little thing I'm wondering though, now that I am root, this is probably going to break everything, but in the interest of testing things, let's give this a shot. Alright, perfect. 90, that's my host machine. So it looks like for nested virtualization, you really do need to escalate your privileges. So I'm going to click on a link, and it looks like it works. Well, gentlemen, this video is far beyond what you needed to know, but hopefully, through seeing me struggle with some troubleshooting, you may have learned a few things. Hopefully it solidified maybe a little bit of your networking. Maybe near your final exam when you need to review networking, you could revisit this and see the troubleshooting steps that I took to fix this. Well, I'll see everybody in class today.